Hello, welcome back to Mining Network. I'm with Terry Lynch, the CEO of Power Nickel. Terry, good to see you.
Great to be here.
To kick things off, company overview.
Yeah, so Power Nickel is advancing the NISK exploration project in Quebec. It's a high-grade nickel sulphide mine. So we just announced some scorching results this week. So we're here to sort of wow London with our hot new nickel project.
Good, okay. Before we go into the results, just an overview of the capital structure.
Yeah, so about 120 million shares outstanding. We just completed a $4 million raise, so we're fully funded at this point in time, and fully diluted about 160.
All right, tell us about these results. Obviously, you high-grade nickel intercepts.
Yeah, so we had a historic resource of about 3.1 million tons of about, you call it 1.5, 1.6% nickel EQ, about 1.1% nickel, about 0.5 copper, 0.07 cobalt, 1 gram palladium. So this result was really good. 26 meters of effectively almost 2% nickel EQ. So 1.17 nickel. Nice. So it's just a very impressive result over a big intersection. And we've been drilling since mid-September. So that result came out yesterday. We'll be releasing results every 2 weeks for the next 3 or 4 months. We'll drill right up until December 19th and get right back at when we raised the money. We expanded the drill program from 5,000 meters to 15,000 meters. So obviously we like what we see.
How many meters have been in the ground so far? Obviously you've got a resource, maybe you can touch on that.
We've drilled about, collectively, historically, we acquired the project. So when we acquired it, they had drilled about 11,000 meters. And then we drilled 2,500 meters last year, had great results, which sort of confirmed the deposit was viable and workable. And since then, we've been drilling, obviously, on this new patch right now. So highly responsive to the drill bit. So we've been very, one of the things when we looked at acquiring the project, we compared ourselves with Talon Metals and Palladium One in terms of, if you look at how many meters do people drill to generate a 43-101, and what's the value of the metal in the ground. So when we ran the quick math, Talon Metals is 41,000 or so. Palladium One was around mid-60s, and we were plus 90. So it showed this is a highly prospective ground. Obviously needed a lot more drilling, and that's what we're doing.
I noticed in your presentation you also note that you're fairly undervalued. The story isn't very well known at the moment, and that gap could close. I mean,
yeah. So I mean, basically to that point, we think if you look at look at 1% nickel sulfide as a cutoff, and compare yourself with those companies, there's only half a dozen of them, with any sort of material resource in the world that are substantial, and the smallest one would probably be Premier Nickel, which is probably worth around 150 million, and Noront probably would have been on the top side at 500 million US. And we're literally like a tenth of that, and I think we're going to be there within just 6 months. So great time to be looking at it.
What are the catalysts to be getting there, though? I mean, obviously at the moment you're doing more drilling, you're working towards a new 43-101 for Q2 next year, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do you close that gap? Is it just that you're not well known, or is it you need to hit these milestones?
I think we're just not well known. I think there was obviously the balance sheet needed to be, we needed cash to move forward. So that was overhanging the market. So now that's done. So I think that fear of a financing is gone. So we've got the cash we need. So now we're at the stage where we're advancing the project with drill results. So people can watch the advancement. They'll know that we're basically, if you look at the deposit, we're basically infill drilling this deposit. It looks like, this pod can be 8 to 10 million tons, which obviously make it commercial. And the thing with nickel sulfide deposits the world over, all of them historically have been multi-pods. So we'll expect this to not just be a single pod development, there'll probably be 3 or 4. So ultimately, as an ultramafic deposit, other examples like this in Canada were Lynn Lake, 22 million tons, Voisey's Bay plus 50. Yeah. So we think we'll ultimately be between 20 and 50 million tons, which would make it a $1 billion deal. So
well, you see this with especially nickel sulfide deposit. They usually do start off fairly small. Another one's Phoenix in Africa, where it started off as a 3 million ton and grew into an absolute monster.
Yep.
So you do see these, but I guess thinking of that, if you are looking at how big's the license that you have at the moment? Is there room to grow the license?
Yeah, we've got like a 20-kilometer strike length, so it's quite large, and Quebec has got to be the best place in the world to be in exploration right now, because you get $2 for every one. It's unbelievable. So, I mean, it's we just did this financing. We were able to accomplish that. So it's a great way with the flow through and the critical minerals tax credits that are available now. It's a tremendous opportunity for us to spend those exploration dollars and prove up more resource.
Just want to get my head around the ore body at the moment as it stands. So what sort of depths are we looking at?
So
When does this
starts at surface
Yep.
and winds its way down. Right now we're at we've drilled as deep as 550 meters. Generally speaking, it's sort of around 300 meters.
Okay.
The best way to perceive this is almost think of it as in this kilometer stretch as a river of nickel, and the river gets shallower and narrower and wider and deeper, and then it gets clearer or muddier, in terms of how it waves through there. But it's been fairly easy to forecast the movement of the river nickel, and our exploration team has done an excellent job of being able to dial it in on the drill bit. So we the last drill round we had, we were 7 for 8 on the drill bit, which is phenomenal. And this time we're 11 holes into it. And we're having we're very happy with the results.
So how are you thinking that the nickel's sort of intruded into it? Is it you're all along a fault line or?
Yeah, we're beneath a couple of fault lines, and
Okay.
and that's seems to be where it's at, and it seems to be trapped beneath the fault, and so we've just been vectoring in on it, and it seems to be, it's gone from the surface, down, sort of from surface, as I said, down to 550, and
Are you still finding mineralization down at 550 as well?
yeah,
Yeah.
some of the best, obviously in nickel, like that last hole, 25 meters is a serious hole. I mean, that's a lot of times you're happy with 5 meters, so you get 25, you're really happy, and we think we may have some 50 and 60 meter holes coming, so that could be exciting.
So run us through management team at the moment. Where's the experience coming from? Who's got the exploration experience to really push this forward?
Right. My job is basically to raise the money and tell the story. It's a tough job.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But we basically when we acquired the project, we acquired it from Critical Elements, which is a really great lithium company, and J.S. LaValle is the CEO there. So J.S. had been working with a company called 3DGO, and they were a very fine, consulting geological firm. A lot of experience, based in Val-d'Or, working in that particular part of the world. So that team has come over and is sort of our lead geologist. And then we have a company called GeoVector, which is a very experienced execution team, geologists as well, but overseeing our drilling program. So between those two, we've been able to really get great coordination, great effort in terms of both understanding the ore body and then actually testing the ore body, with exploration and modifying it in real time. So you'll feel like we're really in great shape there.
And what's your neighborhood looking like? Who own the licenses around you? Are there any other players in the region looking for nickel?
So Critical Elements, obviously, they got one of the best lithium deposits in the world that's been now fully permitted and will soon, I think, be announced that they're going to production. Galaxy Minerals is there as well, Namaska. So we got 3 mines going up in the area. So the Cree, which is our native indigenous partner, is very pro-mining. And that's an important feature to remember as an investor, is that you need to have community support for your mines. And Northern Quebec, there's a ton of support for it, and both not just from the community, but also from the government in terms of incentives and infrastructure. We're across the road from a major Hydro-Quebec substation. So, literally, our guys, are drilling, go down, and they're staying at a resort hotel. So it doesn't get any better in terms of being able to develop it going forward. So infrastructure's there, community support and governmental support. So it's excellent.
Well, what you also have in Quebec is there are a lot of funds in Quebec focused on infrastructure. These are even private funds as well, but they specifically will only invest in Quebec-based projects. So your access to capital compared to other parts, you could really say is...
It's a big plus.
Yeah.
There's no question. Between the tax benefits and the Quebec-focused funds, there's definitely some pools of capital we could draw upon, and that's why I expect our stock price, which is this undiscovered mode now, that's going to change, because all of a sudden, with access to capital, we're doing the things we're going to close that mineralization gap, and people will soon see this as Canada's next nickel mine, because that's what it's going to become.
Look, so I just wanted to go back to this fault on that. You're around 16 million. You're saying that some of your competitors or peers are around 150, 200 million market cap. Is there a set amount of tons that you want to get to?
I think basically I would say at 8 million tons, you'd be commercial today, especially in North America. With the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act in the U.S., North American vehicle manufacturers are going to have North American nickel, otherwise they won't be able to provide a full subsidy on the car. So even small deposits, if we were only 8 million, would get developed. Now, I think we're going to be a lot more than 8 million tons, but as we move towards 8 million tons from 3 to 8, which I think our next update will get us there. All of a sudden, people are going to say, okay, well, this is commercial. And then like there's a whole range of what commercial mines in the ground are selling for versus exploration plays.
Okay.
So that's the big, and whenever you're an investor, the big money is made when you move from exploration play to commercial play.
So in terms of the peers that you have looked at, they're all around that sort of 8 to 10 million ton mark, are
Yes,
they?
yeah,
more?
I would say between 8 and 12. You
Yeah.
know, so
Okay, so this isn't unrealistic to get there.
No, it's not unrealistic. It's if you look at where we're at, we were at 3, and certainly with the drilling we did, and what we did too is we post all of our drill results, the azimuths, everything, so independent modelers can model it themselves. So those guys would tell you that right now we're probably running around 5 million tons. So, you know, it's not a stretch to sort of look at this and say, could they get to 10 on this thing? Yeah, they sure could. And that's just one pod, and there's probably multiple pods.
Obviously, you're focusing on the pot that you have at the moment. Drill-wise, have you allocated any meters for more regional exploration to find?
Yeah, we're doing
satellites?
that, but we're doing some other interesting things. There's some neat new technology that could be helpful. Like, I mean, we're obviously going to be doing more gravity and geophysics in the neighborhood to try and vector in on the deposits. But there's some interesting new technology called sound imaging, which has been used by Talon Metals and by a couple of other companies that could really enhance what we're doing. So we're going to roll that out this spring, summer. And basically it's pretty, if you can imagine, they basically are able to measure sound waves and use that to calculate deposits, especially if you can correlate it with a known deposit. It become really effective. So we think that'll be very helpful in identifying the new pods and allowing us to find them quicker. I mean, obviously we've got some ideas right now with an adjacent pod that we're drilling. We'll be drilling in this next round. I'm testing it out. We think there's something there, but we'll know more in the short order on that.
Okay. Just run us through the next 12 months. So I know in phases we've touched on all of this, but what are the key catalysts in terms of news flow that we're going to be expecting until this time next year?
So basically, we'll continue drilling until mid-December, and our drill results are now starting to come every 2 weeks. So that'll be maintained probably for the next 5 months. We'll continue after December, probably mid-January starts drilling, and probably until spring break, which will be end of April. We'll take a break because of the thawing and whatnot. We'll be doing our geophysics program at that point in time with the sound imaging, etc. And then we'll get back into drilling in probably mid-June to end of the year. So we'd expect we'd probably end up drilling next year probably in the neighborhood of 30,000 meters. We're thinking we'll have an updated 43101 in Q2, sometime in Q2, probably mid to end of Q2. And that will have a PEA mid to end of Q4.
Brilliant. Okay, exciting. Terry, thank you for your time.
Great. Thanks for having us. Cheers.
No problem.